Welcome back then to the Adelaide Oval as Brad Mackay starts the second half of this match. Round 15 of the Winfield Cup, and Western Suburbs, the outsiders for the game, leading by 4 points to 2 as Neil Tierney takes the first tackle in this new segment of the game. And that appears to be Brent Stewart back in the field of play. It is. He was taken off injured during the first half. Georgialis, Glenn Grief, in fact, has gone off for the Magpies, and that has brought Stewart back into the game. Carney, if St George are to win the game, has to be contained. That's Carney in the headgear. And now Langmack coming back into the waiting arms of Brad Mackay and David Barnhill. The fifth tackle is with the Magpies. They've struggled their way about 35 metres up the ground on this set. And that kick, unable to find touch, and Walford, perfectly positioned, takes the first tackle for St George in the second half. Maybon, an angled run outside the 40-metre line. Let's take a half-time comment from Steve Roach now.
Yeah, well, St George not real happy on their fundamentals. Too many drop balls, too many forward passes. They're saying they're taking too many shortcuts. The coach isn't very happy. He's really blowing up about the shot at goal. He said his team should have took the shot at goal. He said put plenty of pressure on Paul Langmack. He's getting two out wide of the ruck and causing Saints plenty of problem. In the West Room, Warren Ryan the same as silly mistakes. He said we've put 2 kicks down, we've got to improve our kicking game, straight down Roddy Maben's neck. He said we've got to keep changing the point of attack. We'll try and tire out them big St George forwards.
Sunday will be at what will be a classic game of rugby league, I feel, at Marathon between Newcastle and Brisbane. Brisbane with all sorts of disadvantages looking at them, and Newcastle in great form last Sunday against Penrith, as Sedaris' pass is accepted by Gurley, but it's a penalty. That's a very good ruling by this referee.
Yes, you see one of the St George players get a touch, and then in an offside position, his teammate picks up. Sedaris did well to bounce out of one tackle, knocked there by Stevens, picked up by Gurley. Offside. Western Suburbs now go on the attack through McGuinness, gets through the line.
McGuinness looks for support, tries to shovel the pass over for Leeds. Leeds was held back, but that happened after the pass, and the referee is going to order the knock-on against West.
Oh, very exciting player, this Ken McGuinness, as Sedaris drifted across field, opened up the hole for him, had the pace to get through, and luckily for Leeds, he knocked that on.
The scrum 20 metres out from the St George line. And Brad Mackay, harnessed by the Western Suburbs defence, almost put a brace on St George. Stevens breaks through it to the halfway. Support from Maybon. Little Rod Maybon floats the pass out wide. This is Mundine. Yes, gets it down. It's a try to Mundine and to St George.
Well, we saw at half-time they hadn't made a clean break. The first one they do make has seen Mundine score in the corner, and it was beautiful work by their best player of the night, Jason Stevens. Put his bulk on the line here, straight through the tackle of Brent Stewart. Pushed him off, showed a good turn of speed, and a nice drawing pass of Andrew Leach. Rod Maybon was on the fly, got out of McGarry's tackle, and a select pass here. Mundine took the ball on the run, had some work to do to beat Paul Smith, kept his cool.
Oh, yeah, great St George try. Look at the power of Stevens as he burst through that hole. Very poor attempt at tackle by Stewart, and then Maybon did the rest, and Mundine out wide. He had Bradley on the inside. Maybon chose Mundine on the outside. Nice fend. So Saints, they needed that one.
You see Mundine had the ball in the right arm.
Damien Chapman kicking into the Cathedral or scoreboard corner. Some beautiful pictures here at the Adelaide Oval. Provided, of course, through the summer of cricket, and with the Cathedral illuminated. It's a lovely setting. Chapman's kick offline, though, but the St George side for the first time in the game. They are the leaders on that scoreboard by 6 points to 4. 47 minutes gone in the game. Friday night rugby league around Australia on the Nine Network. And tonight coming to you from South Australia. David Barnhill just outside the 30-metre point. And now Gurley. Saints lifting now. Inspired by the work of Jason Stevens. Bradley runs to the defence line, looks for Ian Heron down that left flank. And Heron made to play the ball just into West area. Chapman calls for it, but Brown ignores the call, goes down the line as he sees a little gap in behind to play the ball. Here's Jason Stephens once more.
Well, just look what difference a try has made to St George. 5 rucks and they've made 70 metres, so they've lifted, no doubt about that. Now a short kick by Chapman.
It's a good kick too, but Andrew Leeds, one of the real professionals that wears the number 1, right up above them, eyes on the ball and snuffing out a chance of another St George try.
It's still a very good result for the Saints there. Chapman kicking back for his chasers. And the momentum of Andrew Leeds takes him into touch, so it's a St George feed. They've started this second half in flying fashion.
So the Dragons with a great opportunity. Anthony Mundine angling his captain Bradley back infield. Bradley big and strong, getting to within a couple of metres of the line. They're about 10 metres off centre. Bradley playing it back for Brown, and he sends Stephens ahead, and he's over to put it down. Jason Stephens made the try just a couple of minutes ago, and now he brushes aside some feeble Western Suburbs defence to get his own try.
Oh, good stuff there by Jason Stephens. But see, St George, Brian Smith has done well. He's got them to drift across field, change the angles. Twice in a row here. Bradley made the first break, Stephens the second, and gets the ball down right there.
And the marker's up high there. You see Brent Stewart, the number 8. Really, by the time he'd made a decision, it was too late. Paul Langmack had got tangled up in the play of the ball. Tries to keep it out with his boot, but Jason Stephens puts the hands up, says to the referee, yes, there it is.
Young Chapman taking his 3rd shot at goal, and this one is straight between the uprights, so St George extend their margin after 50 minutes of the game to 12-4 over the Magpies. Jason Stephens, of course, has climbed the ladder of fame very, very quickly. I guess we put a lot of pressure on these young lions of the game by giving them the raps that we do, and Jason is a perfect example of a young man probably trying to do more than his coach really wants him to do, particularly given the scoreboard situation now, because they're in front 12-4. Sedaris plays it just into St George's area. Gordon Tallis, talking of young lions, is getting ready to come back into the game. Ball played by Carney. Tallis, incidentally, Paul Horton, his favourite TV show, I read, is The Footy Show.
Well, naturally.
Georgialis, an expected answer from the fat man. Up they go. Maybon can't get to it. He had his own and Buckley's of getting a touch on it. The Magpies come down with it. They've got 6 more tackles. That's how close they are to the line. As Jim Sedaris is held by Goulet. White goes into dummy half. And he looks for a call. Neil Tierney goes charging at the line. He throws his frame at them, and he's that close.
Josh White, the man to watch, along with Jim Sedaris. Very dangerous.
Sedaris gives it for Shields. Shields held. He can almost fall over now and fall over the line, but the Dragons not letting him. Josh White, a little juggle of the football, then back for Langmack. Langmack for Leeds, and Leeds gets the try. Well, nobody's more deserving of it than Andrew Leeds, but again, it stamps the class of Paul Langmack. He operated successfully for the first try, and now he's combined to make the second.
Yes, lovely work by Paul Langmack. In the end, it was a speculator of a pass. He popped up. A fumble there. Langmack hits the ball, it hits the hole at space. It just pops one up, and who's there? Andrew Leeds. Big hole. Just ran past David Barnhill like he wasn't even there.
And Barnhill has been replaced. Paul Stephens goes on. Barnhill could be said to have gone missing in defence on that last try, and Leeds capitalises on the try and converts. So the Magpies are back. 12-10 down, 57 minutes gone in Friday Night Rugby League. So the restart of play as we welcome you back to Adelaide, and 12-10, a close one in the opening match of the 15th round of the 1994 Winfield Cup. 8 rounds to go. Some changes in the St George camp. And West in arrears, 12-10. Penalty goes to them, the men in black and white. Tierney objecting to some treatment from Jeff Hardy. Stephen Clark, the young referee, doing a fine job here tonight. And Andrew Leeds is too, as he finds the line about 5 metres into St George's area. Penalties favour the Dragons, 7-4.
Neil Tierney, the former Saints player, now with West, has really lifted this West side the last 5 minutes. A couple of barnstorming runs. And he would love nothing more than to beat his old club.
Josh White. Parramatta Junior. Went to Canterbury, then to East. Should I say he went from Canterbury to West and then to East and then back to West. So he's a travelled young man. Tierney now, thundering ahead. Sedaris goes from dummy half. We haven't seen Jim do a lot of running in the game. Langmack combines with McGarry. Sedaris supports, then puts on the flick. Paul Smith, who scored the try, gets to the last line of defence before Maybon and Heron combine. Carney the dummy half. White with the ball. Shields goes back in. Beats Mackay. The pass, he throws it with his back turned and nearly paid the penalty. Penalty goes to Western Suburbs. They don't want the kick at goal. Sedaris now, 12 metres out from the line. Right in front of the uprights. That's how close they are. Can the Magpies score? Tierney now, again, throwing himself at the defence. Tallis makes the tackle. Sedaris with a long pass. White runs at Tony Mundine and Scott Gourlay. St George can thank their lucky stars for Gourlay. He's made a lot of good tackles and tackles that had to be made. This is Stewart now, the New Zealand prop. He plays it. Tierney looks for it, runs decoy for White, then Langmack. Now Carney. Carney gets across the line. Did he get it down? No.
And you won't see a closer near try than Stephen Carney. He's over the line. It looked like it might have been the knees or the legs of the tackler that has kept him from scoring. Graham Bradley hanging on his shoulders. Well, he's done a great job, Bradley, there. How Carney didn't get the ball down with that momentum is incredible.
A magnificent piece of play there by Bradley. But once again, we've seen a team with a dead set 2 points in offer.
Can you believe that?
They just pulled Basil out. They've brushed it. And really, players these days undermining the value of the 2 points. It was a gimme, and I mean, it may cost them 12 all with 15, 20 minutes to go. Pretty handy for West.
Well, Paul Langmack's in a lot of trouble here. I fancy it might be a dislocated elbow. He came in contact with Gordon Tallis. I recall having seen that. And there it is. Tallis gets him there with the leg, quite accidental, and I would suppose there's a chance that I'm right that it is that left elbow of Paul Langmack's that may have popped out. He's packed into the scrum, so whatever it was, he's got some feeling back in it. And again, an opportunity for the Magpies to put pressure on them. They've gone very deep in attack, going back to go forward. Damien McGarry is tackled, 15 metres out from the line. Paul Smith, a dummy half. And this is Georgalis, and he's tidied up by Paul Stevens and Brad Mackay. The line just 10 metres in front of them, trailing by 2 points. And this is Tierney, leading by example. Tierney put away. 61 minutes of the match gone, so plenty of time. Makes me wonder really why they didn't take what was a certain 2 points right in front. Now it's back for McGuinness. And he's forced down by Rex Turp and Paul Stevens. Sedaris goes himself, turns it back for Josh White, and White is held again by Paul Stevens and Rex Turp. Sedaris to dummy half on the 5th. This is the kick coming off the boot of Georgalis into the end goal, marked on the full by Maybon. So the Dragons come out to the 20-metre line.
It's a really poor kick, that one. Rolling it into the in-goal area would have been a far better option. No chasers back that way. The kick wasn't a well-directed one and an easy catch for Maybon. All the pressure off and giving away possession.
Chapman, the ball player. And now the ball carrier is Scott Gourlay. Put down heavily. And Steve Georgalis makes another tackle, but he was never directly in front of the man playing the ball, and he's been penalised.
He actually looked as though he'd been hurt in the previous tackle,
that's right.
Georgalis. That one there The referee saw that he failed to go back to 10 metres. So from that kick that Maybon fielded in his in-goal area, all of a sudden St George now find themselves 20 metres out from their opponent's line in quick time.
St George get their 8th penalty in the game, and now they go onto the attack 20 metres out from their opponent's line. Bradley playing it back for Nathan Brown. Now with Gordon Tallis. Tallis, of course, at the start of the year, we were talking about all sorts of things for Gordon Tallis. He achieved one of those records with making the State of Origin. This is Paul Stevens now, the elder brother of Jason. Brown turning it back. Chapman comes in and gets it over the line. Try for Damien Chapman. Well, some of these St George tries have really been soft without trying to detract from them, but Western Suburbs, 1 minute they look good, they look great. Next minute they're letting soft tries in against them. 16-10 after 63 minutes.
Once again, it's that inside ball which has found Western Suburbs out. Plenty of defence there, but just ineffective tackling by the Magpies. And so those inside balls now causing West a mile of trouble.
Well, you see the Western Suburbs defence is actually standing back, waiting to see what's going to happen. There's got to be a lot of urgency down that part of the field. You've got to be rushing up. Look, Nathan Brown goes across again. Some markers tangled up there. Sidaris had to come from the other side of Stevens. And they were flat-footed. Damien Chapman coming at them, and that just made the task so much easier.
So, a real problem for Western Suburbs, and of course for their coach Warren Ryan. You've seen it yourself only just a matter of seconds ago. They were down the other end, a chance to level with a penalty. They opted against that. They put a lot of pressure on the St George line, and 5 seconds later, to be almost precise, they're down the other end of the paddock and unable to hold the St George side out. And it wasn't a difficult task to do that. There was plenty of personnel around there, wasn't there?
It's an easy conversion here for Damien Chapman. Will extend that lead to 8 points, to be almost precise.
It rates against some of your better ones. Chapman converts now. So the Dragons looking just that touch more comfortable. 18 points to 10. 65 minutes gone. Friday Night Football on the 9 Network. Well, this is a very good crowd at Adelaide Oval as we say welcome back again. 18-10 St George after 65. 12,874. And one has to be honest. St George and West not front runners for semi-final contention. To draw that crowd here, it would have to please St George. It's their home game. I doubt that they would have drawn that at home. Mackay now.
Well, there you saw another little ploy there from around the dummy half area, where the ball is basically rolled between the legs to a second dummy half. Brad Mackay was able to make a bust. Full of these little plays around the dummy half area, especially up close to the line.
I thought the referee was going to pull that for maybe an attempted spear tackle, but they pulled out in the end.
Chapman. Name of the game for St George now will be to turn West around, keep them down the other end of the park, and St George can roll down the hill to victory by playing percentage football.
Here you see to play the ball. Damien Chapman dummies to pick the football up. Brad Mackay does so and makes a good 15 metres. It was bad marker play. They only had one. A nice little ploy there just to throw some confusion into the opposition defence.
Stewart comes off. 17 tackles in the game for Brent Stewart. He hasn't actually participated all that long. Some movement on the St George bench with Steve Roach.
Yeah, messages coming from the St George bench. Don't push the pass, and when you get the opportunity to pot a field goal, have a go at it.
Alrighty. So Darren Willis for Western Suburbs. Takes it about 25 metres out from his line. Sidaris attempting to run a blindside play, but then channeling in the back, and it's with Leeds now. The last tackle, and Sidaris Just pushes it ahead. Oh, it bounced up beautifully for McGuinness. And then it breaks down. That's the turnover.
Oh, wasn't that great play there by Sidaris? A lovely angled kick. And McGuinness followed on with the... He took the ball on the fly. And the inside pass went astray. Otherwise, it was a big chance for Wests.
Saints. Walford. 18-10, the Dragons. Turp gets the St George try.
Oh, Gordon Tallis has busted them. The determination took him straight through the front line. And again, you've got to say the third soft try that Western had scored against them. What a bullocking run. Nothing on here. Look at the amount of West defence there is. He's gone straight through three of them. Sidaris, the final miss. And then he did well here. He moved across to where his speedmen were coming, and a lovely pass to Rex Turp. Put him on the outside of McGuinness. Turp scored wide out. Should wrap it up with not that long to go in this game.
Oh, gee, you come to life there, Pete. You jumped up and down. Very exciting, wasn't it, to see Gordon Tallis go through that. 3 or 4 West players. This is what he was doing 10 weeks ago. He's finally come back to that sort of form. And Turp, a good finisher.
So Rex Turp, from memory, I think he makes a bit of a happy hunting ground of Adelaide Oval. He played in the match we did here last year, and I'm sure he got the ball over the line on that occasion.
He scored the winning try against Brisbane?
No, they failed to run Brisbane down, I think.
He scored the try and they had a conversion to even things up.
That's right. Brisbane led by a big margin, and St George came back, but they weren't able to round the Broncos up. 3 from 4 for Damien Chapman. That's away just across the face. So no addition after 70 minutes. 22-10. The Dragons lead, and another version of the try.
Yeah, look at the power of the man. He's raw-boned. There's nothing fancy about Gordon Tallis. Just natural ability there to break tackles with his very extravagant running action.
The restart for the Western Suburbs Magpies, and now inside the last 10 minutes, practically an impossible task for them to win. Quite an incredible game, really, if you look at it from a Magpies viewpoint. You were quite contented and relaxed, as Warren Ryan would have been at halftime. They had by far the better of the game.
Well, his team's done him proud tonight, Warren Ryan. It's just that their defence in the second half has really dropped off something dramatically. At 22-10, now's the time where they should be looking for the field goal to wrap the game up.
Yeah, that's the play. It's a good
Brown for Maybon. Maybon breaks into a hole. Tallis is there to support, and the ball comes out for the knock-on. But the advantage applies for the Magpies.
Well, he was trying to get his arms free there, Gordon Tallis. Really didn't need to. He'd done some damage previously. He went straight into Josh White, who still receives attention as Jim Sidaris, poor ball security, sees the ball come out. Just watch this. Shake of the head there from Jim Sidaris. This is the pass back inside. Beautiful pass from Nathan Brown to Rod Maybon. Finds Gordon Tallis, who'd been involved in the previous tackle. The ball just came loose. They'll win this scrum, St George. If they don't score a try, you'd think they would have to go for the field goal through Damien Chapman.
So let's watch what they do in these lead-up tackles. Mackay it is, who plays it on the 20-metre line. Chapman sending Park in 45, Scott Park, down to almost the 10-metre line. Nathan Brown, a little scurry from dummy half, a handoff back for Park. Scott Park. Gordon Tallis goes in. St George another try. 26-10 after 73. Well, the Magpies off their own line are having trouble handling the St George attack.
Well, there it is again. That's the 4th try they've scored from this particular play. They're drifting across the field, a little inside ball, and the West defence just has not handled it. Tallis, a very big, powerful man. Probably give the credit to Tallis there, because he really stormed over, and strength alone got him over the line.
You see there straight over the top, Peter Shields. And that's the secret of those tries, is a little bit of sleight of hand, but also the momentum with the ball runner coming at such speed.
Once again, Pete, West, they weren't coming off their line. They were standing there like stunned mullets, and that's why Tallis scored.
Graham Bradley, smile on the face. His first time captaining this St George side in first grade. And it will go down as a victory for him.
1 out of 1 for Bradley.
Yeah, Mark Coyne missing this game, and quite an honour when you consider the likes of Brad Mackay in the side. I thought it would have been a fairly obvious choice, but he's been a good player for the last couple of years, Graham Bradley for St George.
Damien Chapman with the attempted conversion there. 3 out of 5 for Damien Chapman. And the conversion is there. So St George, further 2 points after 74 minutes, leading the Magpies 28-10 at the Adelaide Oval. This is how the most recent try came. And as I said, the Magpies having trouble containing the Dragons, particularly off their own line. So the restart for the Magpies. And Andrew leads with the restart. Paul Stevens to bring it back to the defence line. He got away from Georgalis and was pulled down by Sidaris. Reminds me to wish a happy birthday on your behalf, all rugby league supporters. A happy birthday to the big Australian captain, Mal Meninga, who celebrates his 34th birthday today. So on your behalf, I wish him a happy birthday. Mabon plays it 40 metres out from his own line. And David Barnhill hands it back for Nathan Brown. And the ball comes out. That ball went forward. And Tallis is everywhere at the moment. There's been a newfound enthusiasm in the St George play in the second half, and more particularly in the last 15-20 minutes. Scrum near the halfway. Work by Josh White. Cross the face of Leeds to McGarry, and standing right up on him was Park. Georgalis. Kai. Paul Stevens with Nathan Brown making the tackle. Footy show on Sunday with Paul and all his guests. You've got, I believe, the jockeys coming on in the Brains train.
That's the week after. We've got a special edition. We've got the 3 jocks on, Mickey Dittman. This week we've got Jeff Hardy, Duncan McRae and David
Here's
Fairley.
a halfway
West go
call.
through.
Sorry for interrupting by McGuinness. The Magpies with a chance here. Sidaris will come back to that as he stands, and the penalty goes to Western Suburbs. Sidaris takes a quick tap and gets over the line, and referee Clark gives the try. Referee Clark gives the try off one of those controversial kicks that has attracted our attention on a number of occasions. This was not the tap free kick, but in fact the penalty kick. Now watch it.
Well, the referee was right in awarding the decision. No way they were within 10, but he's just run up, kicked the ball forward and gone over.
So Jim Sidaris gets the try. And that area of criticism of what kick is legal and what kick isn't legal is opened up again.
See there, the point of the ball does finally reach the ground. Park screaming that he got his hand under it, and you could see the hand was. Finally, the point of the ball touched the ground, and that was enough.
Quite a remarkable effort by Jim Sidaris. Looking for a century of points as Andrew leads, and there it is. Sidaris' try converted, lifting Andrew's total to the century. 28-16, St George over the Magpies with just a couple of minutes remaining. And here it is again, the penalty taken by Sidaris quickly, and simply kicking the ball in the air, remarking, and then charging over the line. And having done that, I interrupted what we can expect on the footy show on Sunday.
We'll have David Fairley on to talk about the test match the other night. Australia beating France 58 blot, and also about North's big game this weekend. And plenty of guests, plenty of mayhem. Steve Rates, of course, will be there. Snorky Sterling will be there.
As St George come back to launch what will be probably their last attacking raid of the match. close to full time. 25 metres out. Ricky Walford. White underneath. Sidaris over the top. Ansett Airlines make the Man of the Match award of a Friday night, $1,000. And it could be this bloke, Scott Goulet, throwing the pass out for Ian Heron to get his try. Ian Heron scores for St George in the dying seconds of the game. And again, Scott Goulet to the fore. 32-16 now.
Well, they finished with a flourish. From the kick-off, Andrew Leach drove the football down. St George came up with possession. Goulet straight through the tackle of Damien McGarry. Long pass to Ian Heron, who beats the tackle of Paul Smith to score in the corner. Wasn't necessarily needed, but it's always a nice way to finish.
No, we've given plenty of raps to the Saints players tonight, Jason Stevens, but Goulet hasn't been far behind him. And that's a beautiful long ball out to Heron. A good finish for Saints in this game tonight. They've, as I said before, they've got a very good run home, St George, in these last now 7 games they've got. They've got 2 hard matches, 2 particularly hard games in Penrith and Brisbane. But the other matches, I think they'd nearly be expected to win most of them.
Yeah, well, that match against Brisbane is on their home soil, and it's a match that you've budgeted for them to win. Losing 1 game in the run down to the semi-finals would give them 26.
Well, I believe that the first 4 teams at the moment, I think they'll make the 5 and the rest of them will fight out. I believe that they may finish on 26 Saints and be in at least a playoff for that spot.
It's been a big second half from them, 30 points. So it's 4-2 down at half-time.
Chapman from the sideline unsuccessful, so he finishes with the figures of 4 from 7. Damian Chapman, 32 points to 16 though.